You need to be intentional with what you kind of do with your kids, in my opinion, because again, your goal is to build a human that's independent and that'll be successful in life, not just successful in sports necessarily. If the goal is not for them to get to the NHL or to the whatever, like any professional league or to the Olympics, sports are there to help them be competitive, discipline, teamwork. Like those are like the skills. And there's no reason, in my opinion, to go overboard with that if the goal is not to get to that level. So like in those ages where it's like they don't know what they want to do, they just want to have fun. Unless they really want to go with their friends all the time, they're also kind of missing out on other things, in my opinion, as a kid. It's not, it can't just all be about sports. Like I've lived that lifestyle, and I've also lived the other lifestyle where it's like I'm just playing hockey during the winter and that's it. And you kind of want them to learn how to have fun in other ways too. It can't just all be about sports all the time, in my opinion. I think a lot of people fall into that trap of with their kids. It's like, oh, we got to do hockey for all the week, whole week, all weekends, everything. It's all about hockey. It becomes almost like a distraction for the parents in a way to just like, let's just put the kids on the ice and then we'll just stand back and.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Driven Dad podcast. My guest today built a business that sells what doesn't exist yet. Photorealistic renderings that move buyers before a single wall goes up. Stéphane is the founder of Res 3D, a mechanical engineer, a 20-year bodybuilder, and a dad raising 2 boys alongside his wife, who also happens to be his business partner. Stéphane, welcome to the Driven Dad podcast.
Thanks. It's a pleasure.
I got to say the most notable thing in that introduction that I want to get into is that you are a business partner with your wife.
Yeah.
Tell me about how that dynamic works and maybe, if there's any challenges that come from that.
Yeah, sure. Honestly, my wife is probably more, if not as like driven as I am in business. Kind of like since we've been together, I think it's been like 13 years. We've like she's jumped from like many different types of jobs, work. Like she was a manager in some places, went back to like call centers, all that stuff. She was never really satisfied. And she actually went first into business as she opened up a daycare at our house. She ran a daycare for like 8 years. And then COVID happened and all that stuff. But I really saw her drive first for business. I've always been the more less of a risk taker. She's always been the like I'm jumping all in. Even like last year, we both quit our jobs. She quit it first, and I was like super hesitant on doing it. But she's always been driven to just do more. Never really satisfied with working for somebody else. And then she kind of inspired me to kind of jump in. And then dynamic wise, like it's funny, like we're both like super strong personalities, but we balance it out. Like she's more of a risk taker. I'm more of a, let's kind of analyze everything. So we complement each other really well in business. But we've never hit a point where like we weren't really in agreement. There's always like, we both see like the full picture and we try things. And then it's kind of like, I don't know, it's definitely different. Like you're being in a marriage is one thing, and then plus your business partners on top of that. But I find it's actually brought us closer. We're always together. We basically control our schedule, which is like also really nice. One of the biggest things was where I was working before, I was always away either at the job or, on call or stuff like that. So like I was really never really present, but now that we're like working together, it's easy for us to be on the same page. Right. So that's really been like, honest to God, like we haven't had any like big arguments or like any, like it's been keep pushing. We both have the same vision also, kind of where we want to bring it. But, yeah, it's been interesting, but it's been also like fun. Like we really enjoy it. So yeah.
That's amazing. I think if you think about it, being in business and being in a marriage is essentially the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If in my opinion, if you're married to someone that you enjoy spending your life with, you're on the same page on, not on a daily basis, but on a lifespan basis. Yeah. You're likely working towards building the life of your dreams,
Yeah.
like and that dream aligns between both
Yeah.
partners. So I feel like if you have that good relationship to start with, a business is not so different from that, right?
Yeah.
You already have that respectful partnership between
Yeah.
both of you. You actually enjoy spending time
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah.
I think there's probably, some relationships that shouldn't start a business
Yeah.
together, but
Yeah, no, and actually, like I know a lot of entrepreneurs. Like I have buddies that are entrepreneurs, and they started their businesses before they had a girlfriend or before they were married or before they had kids. Like we were established. We had like 8 to 5 jobs. We had a kid. We had Olivier, our first son. It was during the pandemic. We had a house, a mortgage, all this stuff. So we started it after we'd already started our lives together. And obviously, like it's a journey, because like you learn like throughout entrepreneurship that like there's different seasons to it, where like sometimes you have to go really hard, which kind of affects the balance of like, being with the family, all that stuff. But at least her being involved in it, she understood, and she was also in it. When we're with the kids at the end of the day, it's kind of like, all right, let's just put our phones away. Let's just hang out with them, or let's go somewheres. And we're on the same page. Like that's like the thing that I see from other people, where like if the partner is not really invested also in it, sometimes they don't understand that like building a business is really a lot of energy, emotional energy, like physical, like really it's a lot. And sometimes it just takes different, you need a different energy level for different, again, seasons of the business growing and all that stuff when you're scaling. So at least her being there with me, she's pushing me sometimes. Like sometimes I'm tired at night, and she's like, we really need to to finish this project, or we really need to meet these people and all that stuff. So she's honestly, like, our business wouldn't be where it's at today without her being involved as much as I am. Like it's really like a 50-50 split in the energy and time invested into it. So
that's cool. Yeah, it's like you said, like running a business is like in your mind, it's pretty much a 24/7 thing, right?
Yeah.
There's always something that you're thinking about, even more so when you're in a building phase of your business, when you're trying to scale, like you said. How, like, do you guys have any tricks, or do you guys have any kind of non-negotiables to help you guys detach from that? Like once, it's supper time with the family.
Yeah.
It'd be easy to, pick up your phone and justify,
Yeah.
I just have to answer this client or like finish this thing. And once again, like you said, your wife kind of understands, some shit needs to get done for certain times.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's super important to, have some solid family time where it's dedicated attention to your kids.
Yeah.
You are not only physically present, but you're listening to what they have to say. You're reasoning with them. You're playing with them. You're fully 100% there.
Yeah.
Is there any like tricks or like things that you set concrete as a non-negotiable to help you be that present father?
Yeah. Well, not just father, like a present husband too. For us, every morning we drop the kids off to school, daycare, and we go to Starbucks and get a coffee. And it's like a coffee date every morning. And then we drive around kind of just to talk about the day and all that stuff. So like we have that, like every morning we spend time together and not just like detach and just go straight to the business. And then once we get in, like we work the whole day pretty much. And then right as soon as like 4 o'clock hits, it's like, all right, gotta go pick up the kids. And then pretty much after that, what we're kind of learning now, it's like, let's have activities. So like Ollie does judo now. So like Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's the whole night basically. And then, so we're trying to like, we're kind of learning as we go, but now it's mostly like, all right, it's starting to be nice. Let's go outside for like the night, basically. Let's just do things to kind of get away from the home office, get away from the phone, kind of just like do activities with them. Cause sometimes it happens, you're like sitting on the couch at night, you're just watching TV with the kids, and then you're just like, oh, my phone's right there. Let's just, So right now it's mostly like, let's just go for a drive. Let's just do something. We love to drive around. Like we put way too many kilometers on our cars. So like during the week, it's every morning we have essentially that coffee date for me and my wife to connect. And then as soon as that 4 o'clock hits, pick up the kids from daycare, do stuff with them. And then the weekends, no working at all. It's we have in the beginning that was hard because it was just me and my wife, but now we have like a full team, full-time employees working for us. So we're really blessed to have like those type of individuals, super talented. They're working for us. So we can actually take those weekends for the family. I would say the weekends are probably more busy than the weeks, even at this point, having 2 kids, 2 boys. But it's fun. It's almost like we're finding that the busier we are with the kids, especially at nights and the weekends, like it actually, it removes a lot of that business mentality. Like, because I have a hard time shutting down my thoughts about business, scaling, all that stuff, thinking about the future. But forcing ourselves to kind of do activities with them, you just forget about all that stuff. So those 2 things have been really like the main triggers of like, we're building these habits now with the kids. But yeah, I mean that just started like probably I'd say like this year, even like January, like as soon as we started to hire talented people, kind of buy back some of our time, we've been slowly getting back to like, all right, let's just do these things. Even like once a week, we try to go on a date, me and my wife, just like at lunch or whatever. So it's really like finding those key moments to kind of connect with your wife and your kids every day, or at least the weekends are like, to me, would be the perfect time to do that. The kids also understand that we're working for ourselves. So sometimes we're really busy. We have, our parents that help out too, but it's we're finding that it's really like getting those, just doing activities with them, not just staying in the house. Really,
Right.
that's been helping a lot.
Yeah. I love that you guys prioritize, having fun with your kids on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And you're not just saving that for, the 2 weeks per year that you go on vacation or the special events.
Yeah,
I find that's something that a lot of people overlook, is that opportunity to make a Tuesday afternoon really fun.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to cost anything.
No.
It doesn't need to be away from, the town you live in or whatever. It can be straight from your driveway. It can be in your backyard.
yeah,
Just do a bonfire on a Tuesday night or something. It doesn't need to be a grand gesture.
Yeah.
It's just, you have the opportunity to make something simple, special for them, and to spend that quality time with them.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a huge takeaway from what you just said. It's like I said, a lot of people kind of wait for that 1 week per year to make it really special.
Yeah. And it really actually on that really came from like the last 5 years of growing this business. We haven't had time to go on vacation. Like we haven't really traveled or anything. So we kind of had to be creative on like, let's do something fun, or let's take the boys out on a random weekday. Let's go to hop, skip, jump or whatever, just anything like that.
Yeah.
And they love, like, again, they love also driving around in the cars, going just driving around, going to Shediac, going to Fundy. Like they just like we're in the car together, we're talking, all that stuff. So
Cool.
We had to be creative.
Yeah. The other thing that you mentioned is like, having the flexibility to go on a coffee date with your wife or whatever you want to call it every morning. That's essentially a big part of why you are an entrepreneur.
100%.
If you're not taking advantage of being able to create that flexibility and having those moments on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, if you're just like in it for the hustle and the money and whatever, you're missing the whole point, in my opinion.
Yes.
I saw a content piece the other day saying something about like, the goal isn't to buy a Ferrari. The goal is to take a random Tuesday afternoon off and go for a hike with your wife, or something like that. Right.
Yep.
And to me, that's the most valuable part of being an entrepreneur, is creating your own life, essentially manufacturing the life that you want, the schedule that you want, prioritizing the things that you love doing. That's where the massive value is, right? You don't have someone dictating that you have to be at work Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. You get to decide that. That's worth like $1 million.
I know.
Right there to me.
Yeah. I used to be all about that like hustle culture kind of thing. That's where, again, my wife pulled me back and she was like, we're doing this for the family. Like this is why we wanted the freedom. That's like the main thing. And we often forget why we're doing this. And like right now, like even if, because I have friends that are into it and they're getting started, they're in that hustle culture more so. But as soon as you have kids and you have a wife that you love, like it shifts your perspective on like, okay, well, I'm doing this for that, like the family. And you realize how wealthy you actually are, like earlier in your entrepreneurship journey, I guess. Because I mean, as soon as your bills are paid, and you have money for doing the stuff you love to do, freedom wise, like how much wealthier can you get, right? You have everything you need basically. After that, it's just we're doing it for the fun basically. So we kind of realized that this year, where it's like what are our basic things that we want, and we kind of built our life around that, and we're still building towards that vision. But yeah, you can't lose sight on why you're doing what you're doing when you're getting into entrepreneurship, because you can really get lost in the money and the I want to make like multiple millions of dollars, and you lock in on that vision so aggressively that you lose track of everything on the way up and why you're actually doing it. So I think the earlier you realize that, it gives you a different purpose for why you're doing it, and then it becomes more about passion. Like you really like the process, like more or less about just making money. Like it's, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think the hustle culture, like I think everyone goes through that when they become an entrepreneur. And I don't know if that's because I think we all feel like we have something to prove. Like it's not necessarily true, but I think we're telling ourselves like, everyone's betting against me.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'm going to fucking show them that I can do this.
Yeah.
And I think for sure in the long run, the hustle culture is totally a negative effect, and it'll probably put you in a tailspin at one point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of have somewhat of a belief that you have to go into that phase
100%
for a short term, hopefully.
Yeah.
And just like put in the sweat equity, right?
Yep.
Like just wear every hat, clean the toilets, sweep the floors, do everything. And until you can start, delegating those lower level tasks one thing at a time. It's like I said, long-term, 100% like a negative thing, but I think everyone needs to go through that phase to learn and to wear that kind of badge of honor and to say that you've went through that phase and 100%. Survived it.
Yeah. You're really like, especially in the beginning, because when you're starting off in business, like you're super ignorant about everything. Like you really need to pay down that ignorance debt as fast as you can. So like pushing really hard in the beginning is almost like a necessity, because you learn about the market, you learn about your clients, you learn about everything. You wear all the hats. And then after a while, you start to realize that like, oh, maybe I can find somebody else that can help me who's actually better at me at doing that specific task, so I can delegate it. And then you start delegating more, and then it becomes more about building a team, less about everything that you can put in. And then you start realizing that like, okay, I don't need to go like psycho mode all the time. I can let other people kind of figure it in. Like that's like for us this year has been that step where it's like we're focused like purely on finding the top talent. Because we realize that as hard as I want to push on like doing all the clients, doing all the renderings, do everything my way, the business grows. Like the growth of the business is really accelerated as soon as you add more people to it. So that's really been that thing for us. Like the first like 5 years, we really went hard on paying down that ignorance debt. Like I said, learning everything. I had like no mentors, like nobody else around here really does renderings. I had one guy, Julien Arsenault from Arzeno, shout out. He was the first guy who kind of taught me the ropes. But there's nobody else around here that really I could talk to about the market, the global market of what we do. So I really needed to push hard to kind of learn all that stuff. But now it's like we paid down that like ignorance debt, and we're more into that, like we're doing this because we actually like doing it for the passion. And
It's where it becomes fun.
it literally, like, it's fun now. Like, I looked at my wife the other day and I was like, I feel like we're running a business now. This is fun.
Exactly.
We can scale it like how at our pace. And I'm not like, working from 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. We have a little bit more of balance, more fun. Like that's definitely been, yeah.
It's like Dan Martell says, I think it's something done at 90% by someone else is 100% better than doing it yourself.
100%. Yeah.
But it's like you said, it's easier said than done because you have a lot of pride in what you do.
Yeah.
You have a way of, putting your signature on something that you're, doing it the way you like it, the way you do it.
Yeah.
So initially it becomes a little bit of a challenge to
Big time.
start off down that path. But if you train your team well, and I like to call it stupid proof everything. So if, you write down the right protocols, you hire the right talent, you build the right team, eventually you end up in the position where you're in, and you actually have a business now. Because things are getting done while you're sleeping or while it's the weekend.
Yes.
You don't own a business if you are the business.
No,
you own a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, which is fun. Like there's another guy out there who does renderings of food. This guy is like a digital chef, if you will. And I contacted him because I was curious on like what his process was. And he's a solo guy, but he only works like 2 hours a day. The rest is just doing content. He picks his hours and all that stuff. So that was like, I was debating, do I go that route and just do everything myself? And then I kind of, it was hard finding talent in like what we do specifically. Cause it's, there's no college courses for this, no university courses. Right. There's no studios around here other than us. So that was a hard one to find. But as soon as we started finding how to find those people, and I realized there's people out there that are like way better than me at this, and they are obsessed over this, that they just do this 24 hours. As soon as you find that unlock of like, it's not even that like 90% done, 10% like 100% awesome. Like these people are like 200% better than me at doing this, which is like, all right, let's just keep finding people like this and keep growing that way. But it's the struggle was to find, like, because you're super passionate about what you do. We had hired a bunch of people before. I just didn't feel like they were as passionate in this that I was. Like a crucial thing for me for hiring people was they need to like be all in, like their soul needs to be in it. They need to be like they're not even asking you, like you're giving them a project and they're like excited to do it. And like, they want to blow your mind. Like that's kind of the talent that you almost need to find in business, that are really, those people will really help you grow your business. And it's not just like, a person that'll follow steps and all that, like an SOP, because I tried that. But when you're talking about like art and like designing, like storytelling and all that stuff, you need somebody who understands that. So it's much more than just teaching them. They need to have like that, like raw talent. So that was a struggle. But as soon as you can unlock that, like you said, you just feel like you're on cruise control, and it's the business runs really smoothly. And then you can kind of step out a little bit more of the business and look at the big picture. And then it's, again, it unlocks a whole different level of fun. You're not like exhausted every night. You're actually excited to wake up and see what else we can do. So
it becomes a lot more interesting at that point.
Yes. Big time.
And you can see how you want to continue to grow this business instead of feeling, tired and exhausted. I got to a point when I used to own my gym. We did a thing called foundation classes. So it was a CrossFit gym. So you needed to have a base before getting thrown into the regular classes. So we do something like 3 sessions with each new member. And I would do like for 3 to 4 years, every single new member, I would do those 3 sessions with every single member. And I had the opportunity to have Dan Martell come in as a business partner back then. And we were discussing something about like, the growth of the business and like, how do we intake more clients? Like, how do we keep growing this business? And at one point I mentioned, like, I do all the foundation classes of every new member that comes in. And he's like, you do every single foundation class for every member. He's like, we have to fix this.
Yeah.
Like, no wonder you don't have the fire to go and
Yeah.
get new members.
Yeah.
Because that means I have a massive commitment, right? When a new member comes in, yeah, I'm making more money, but I'm also sacrificing 3 hours and a lot of effort
Yeah.
to intake that client. So fixing those processes and delegating the lower level tasks. Once I've done that, then it became interesting. Then I wanted to go from 175 members to 225 members. And I would just sit in my office and smile.
Yeah.
Because it was super fun, right?
Yeah.
You'd come in, I'd chat with you, and I'd send a text message to my coach, and he would do the foundations, and I would put the payment through.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard to delegate because it's like so kind of a backstory. When I graduated university, where I was working before, it was at the landfill in Moncton, and I was managing 2 facilities, so like almost 130 employees. So I learned a lot about delegation, hiring people, firing people, like the good and the bad, the ugly, everything. And delegating tasks is probably the hardest thing to do, in my opinion, especially if you're somebody who has like really high standards in everything that you do. And then when you open your business, which is like almost your baby, that's even harder, because then you want to make sure that like your clients are basically like you hold their hands through the whole process, everything goes smoothly, perfect. So as soon as you hire somebody, especially when it comes like for you, like the client relations or like the foundation work, everything like that, I can like it's one of the hardest things to do. But as soon as you find the right people to do it, then you're like, okay, I feel confident they will execute on exactly, like they know what to do basically. So that definitely helps.
Yeah. People management is probably the hardest skill to learn and to hone.
Yes, 100%. You almost have to have it. Like it's almost like either a natural talent or you've been doing it for like your whole life. Like it's a hard one.
I agree. I also like to think that as the manager or the business owner, everything is your fault if something didn't go well. Yeah, that person was dumb. I agree. Common sense is not so common, but it's still your fault. You didn't foresee that happening, or you didn't foresee that might happen, right? So the processes are flawed. They're not detailed enough. It's not, there's no billboard saying exactly what he needs to do at what time. So it's really like gaining the perspective of what type of expectation you can have for the people in your team, and just building the right processes and instilling the right expectations in their mind also, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So we've been talking a lot about your business, but we don't really know exactly the details of what you do. So explain to us the process of what type of client that comes in and how you create value for them.
Yeah. So most of our clients are developers. So real estate developers, either they want to prepare a presentation for raising capital for a large development to get investors. They don't have plans yet. They kind of want to show concept of what their vision is. So they come to us for that step of the process, I guess. Talk to them, kind of get a wrap around what they're trying to sell. And then we create a story out of that through like high quality realistic renderings, whether it's a lighthouse Airbnb on the coast where you see the views, or it's an apartment downtown on Main Street. We really our specialty is to really give them visuals. It's almost like a story. It's like you see people interacting with the property. You see the details that go into the finishes, like all that stuff. So we really help them. It's not only just a marketing tool. It's really like sales tool, storytelling. Like it helps any stakeholders that they might interact with see their vision, because it's one thing to tell it, or to say like, or even to show like a hand-drawn sketch or whatever, or even a ChatGPT image or like an AI image. We really bring in that like extra level of storytelling, different angles, different moods, lighting, all that stuff, and then they get excited about the project. So that's like one of the phases, I guess. The other one is when it comes to once the project is secured, and they move forward with it. Once the building is designed by an architect, it's a beautiful building, all that stuff. Now it's like, all right, let's tell this story to potential tenants. Like, we want to pre-lease this building, build hype for it. So then we get those developers also, whether they come back to us or they're at that stage, they come to us, and then at that point we sell the whole vision, which is like the exterior of the property, what it's like to walk outside, walk the grounds, walk your dog, or what, like just show them through images and videos and animations, and then also on the interior what the units will feel like, the different units, what are the views going to be. You can do like full virtual reality tours where like you're basically walking through the unit. You get to see the kitchen design, the flooring, how the furniture is going to fit. So then the people, the tenants, they see that and they're like, oh, I can see myself sitting on that couch, or like, okay, yeah, I can actually see myself with my kids here playing. They can go outside, whatever. So it's much more than just like a pretty image. It's really about the storytelling, helping them where they come to us. We give them essentially these tools so they can blast it on social media, or whether they have a website, to really catch the attention of people that are looking for homes or looking for places to live. And up until, if they don't have these renderings, like they have to wait until it's built, basically, until a unit is built or it's furnished, they have to go see it. With us, it's like, as soon as the plans are done, you can start like telling the story of the property as early, like even before the concrete is poured. So it's a really powerful tool. But the value really comes to we help the clients kind of sell their vision for what this development's going to be. So yeah,
I think you said it well. You essentially sell the feeling.
Yes. Yeah.
The feeling of sitting on that couch, like you said.
Yeah.
And I overlook that a little bit because I'm a creative person myself. I can imagine the wildest things.
Yeah.
And I kind of know, like, if I'm going to like something before I see it, just in my head, I can paint that picture to a certain extent. But where my eyes get opened is my wife is the total opposite.
Yeah.
And I get frustrated sometimes with, like, home projects or like choosing a color for something. And I'm like, black is going to look sick. And she's like, black? No. I'm like, I know you can't see it right now, but like, I'm telling you, it's just, trust me, But for that type of person, it's, world changing, right? Bringing an idea from words to an actual visual image. Like, when we built our house, we had a rendering, and it was super, like, even for myself, it was super helpful to choose the colors, something you thought might look cool, like an angle or whatever, changing that. And I've had the opportunity to do it through the eyes of an investor also, not to mention the city planning stuff and all that side of things, but just like seeing what you're going to be building before it's actually being built gives you a bit of a confidence in the project that you're building, pride, like, it's going to be, a good looking project. It's not going to be cheap looking or, in the setting that's going to be in, it's going to be appropriate. So it's like, in my experience, a world of a difference from just, a 2D plan. How long has 3D renderings existed?
I think it's really been picking up like the last, like, I don't know, 10 years for sure.
10 years. Okay.
Yeah, it's been around for a while. Before, it was completely different softwares. Nowadays it's like AI integrated. You have like the full, like, virtual, you can do animations, you can do a lot of stuff. But like basic, like the still images, I think those have been around for maybe more than 10 years, but it wasn't the same quality as it is now, though.
Yeah. And I feel like it wasn't like, if you'd build a normal home, people wouldn't get a 3D 3D rendering done, right? Because it was a budget thing. Wasn't 100%. In the budget. But now it's like, unless it's a spec home, I think pretty much anyone building a custom home is going to get one of those.
Even spec homes. We do a lot of spec homes, duplexes, tiny homes, mini homes. We do pretty much like anything, even renovations. We get a lot of, again, like these like full developments, again, with spec homes. Let's say a builder's building a bunch of different houses. He wants to market all these different types of houses. Some are different colors, whatever. It's the value you get out of it is like the return on investment is like, you almost can't quantify it. Because like, if you're starting up to build this development in this street, and you already have people lined up at the door to buy these houses just from one image that you had done. I mean, that makes a world of a difference in your confidence in when you're building the development, even from securing investors, everything. Like it's to me, it's I'd say it's a necessity at least to get just one image, just to kind of showcase, even if it's of the whole development or even if it's just of one house or, it's funny you say that with your wife. My wife is the same. Like she can't visualize anything. I've grown, basically I've been around blueprints and plans, my whole professional career. And even before that, and not because I used to do house plans 10 years before I even started like doing renderings, and I could visualize. I just look at a layout and I was like, this is going to be a beautiful home. My wife is like, I have no clue what I'm looking at. So when we renovated our house a few years ago, we went through that where like my wife's like, I can't picture anything. Like you want a square island with like black and white cabinets. And so I did some renderings and she was like, okay, now I can really see the value of this. And that's kind of like, that was one of the points where she kind of like hopped on even more into the business. She was like, okay, this really helps out a lot. Even just.
She started to be more of a believer.
Yeah. As soon, and we did it for her mom too. She was renovating, same thing. Like as soon as you can see like even the fireplace, let's say that you're not sure if you want a black shiplap or white ship, whatever. Like as soon as you can kind of get like a basic image of what it was going to look like, it changes everything. Cause then you're okay. Actually, I don't like this. I want this color. So like, it gives you that confidence. Like you said,
you can justify the investment in a rendering rate, like for a small project like that.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I'm going to paint it white. We'll see, you know, if you take in consideration your time, 10 hours, let's say, the paint is $100 now for, a gallon. So just right there, you probably paid off the 3D rendering for just that one single project.
I've had people come to me like after they renovated their house and they're like, look, I went the cheap route. I didn't want to get anything done. I just went like cheap plans. Even like hiring a good designer for your house, that goes a long way too, because they also have a vision. It's not just like drawing lines, but they regretted not getting renderings done. And then it actually physically cost them money because now they're like, I'm gonna redo my house. I didn't like it. So it's instead of just spending a little bit money, like the right amount of money up front. And it's not even like it's you're investing in that, right? It's not just like a cost. It's like you're investing in like the confidence you're going to get from that. Like you know exactly what you're going to get. So like that is like, to me, it's hard to quantify that value, but it definitely, like, I would recommend it to anybody. Not just because I sell it, just because of like the amount of people that have come to me and be like, holy Mac, like this really helped out.
Yeah. I'll second that for sure. At what point do you start in the journey? Do you make any plans, or do you just take the plan made from someone else and then start from there?
So we don't do any plans. So we have a few different partners. Especially for anything that's like houses, Part 9 buildings, like smaller stuff. We do a lot of stuff with Innova Design Studio with Alex there. But we don't do any plans at all. It's basically the client either brings us the blueprints, the plans for it, and then we bring it to life. Or sometimes it does happen, like especially for like concepts and all that stuff for like bigger developments, we won't even have any plans. It's kind of just like we have this piece of land. We can build a 7,000 square foot building. It needs to be mixed use with like commercial on the bottom, residential on the top, and then we kind of just we get creative and put something together.
Those are probably fun projects.
Oh yeah, very fun projects. They take a lot more time, especially on my end, because I really get into that creative space. It's hard to like hire somebody for that, especially when like I deal with the clients and all that stuff, but I really like doing that creative work.
And there probably needs to be like a level of realistic expectations too, like as far as like, what the code is, or all that type of stuff. So you have to balance the creativity with that. Yeah.
And that's been like, it's really, you need to understand the bylaws, again, the setbacks from the city, everything. Like it's a lot more goes into like renderings than people think.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you want it to be like it's marketable, it's realistic, and it's going to look like the actual thing when you build it. There's a lot of planning that goes into it. But it's those projects are definitely fun. It's especially when it's like, all right, you have creative freedom, kind of just do something beautiful to sell it. And then, yeah, so we do like those two types of, I guess, inputs from the clients.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I know you've been, you have an interest in bodybuilding. You've been doing that for 20 years.
Yeah.
What kind of feeling or like what kind of high do you get from, using that as your method of training?
So I grew up in sports, hockey, especially like high level hockey, from a very young age. I played all kinds of sports, golf, basketball, soccer, but like my main one was hockey. And I really wanted to get to the highest level possible. And my dad has always been really good at pushing me, like finding which buttons to kind of press to kind of get me going. So I really found that love of training, working out at the time for like up until I started kind of hitting the gym. It was more like dry land training, running, cardio, on ice training, all that stuff. But then when my hockey career kind of stopped,
Yeah. What level did you get to?
So I played AAA hockey pretty much my whole life. Played for the Flyers in Moncton. And then after that, I was picked up as a free agent for the Lewiston Maniacs and to play in the Q. I was still pretty young at the time. I didn't have my driver's license. So they wanted me to stay there as like a kind of like a scratch, like a seventh defenseman or eighth defenseman. But my parents were like, look, we won't, I think it's better for you to go finish your high school and then go from there. We'll see what happens next year. So that's what I did. I remember I played my last games. It was in the preseason. I played 2 games against the Wildcats, against my friends that I grew up playing hockey with, which was super fun. And then the next year, that team basically they sold and they went to somewhere else. So like they released everybody. And then I was but in that period, I also I kind of knew where I wanted to go more, not just focus on hockey. So then I knew I wanted to go into engineering, and then I was drafted by the Commandos at the time. I made the team and then I quit the first practice because I was like, I really want to focus on studying for engineering. And then played junior B for 3 years with the Vitos in Moncton. I really made a lot of friends there. Like I would call them brothers now. And then pretty much at 21, I pretty much stopped. I was with my wife at the time, was my girlfriend. And I basically just wanted to focus on finishing my engineering degree at U-M. And then, yeah, that's pretty much when like my hockey career, I guess, kind of stopped. But from there, I remember I really started to fall in love with bodybuilding at the gym at university. I was doing like 2-a-days, going like watching all the Arnold Schwarzenegger pumping iron videos.
Of course.
Really got into it. And I went like, I'm the type of person that really, when I get into something, I go all in, like super obsessive. And then I remember I had like my pill jar with everything. I was bulking, like tracking my calories like crazy. 2-a-days at the gym, following programs. And I did that for probably like 10 years. And then after that, I kind of went a little bit less intense in that sense. And then I've always been in love with that. I found it was kind of like a way for me to get away from anything in life that was stressing me out, or it's always humbling to go in the gym because you get under whatever 300 pounds, whether at the bench press or the squat rack, and that will humble you pretty quick.
I don't get under 300 pounds. Maybe you.
No, I just like pushing myself, especially in the gym, getting a pump, pushing my boundaries. Kind of, it's always been like I wouldn't say an escape, but it's been a way to kind of ground me. Like it's always been at the forefront of the main pillars of my life. Like my family's there, my health is there, and then my business or like building wealth is there. And if I'm not feeling, if I don't go to the gym for like a week straight, I'm like itching to go. Like I can't, I just feel off basically, even mentally. So I really need to like it's part of my life to do some kind of activity, where there's jogging, biking, or just lifting weights. Like I'm not as intense today how I was like when I went to university, but it's yeah, I love it.
Did you ever compete in a bodybuilding
No,
show?
I wanted to.
Yeah?
In university,
Is
I
that
really
your
wanted
goal?
to.
Okay.
It was my goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've kind of was figured out I just wanted to do it because I love it. I just love, again, lifting weight. Even being alone in the gym with my headphones on, listening to music focuses me a lot. So yeah, I think that aspect I really fell in love with more than wanting to compete or anything like that. So
Yeah. I think we're super lucky. I'm in a similar position as you, where for some reason, like after sports, after hockey, after minor sports were done, I kind of naturally got attracted to a similar type training, and some way, somehow I stuck to it. You know, there were some ups and downs where I got more and less intense into it, like you.
Yeah.
But it was just it got ingrained in my mind as like a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
I want to say like before life got tough,
Yeah.
in the sense that, you know, before I had to focus on being an entrepreneur, before I had to focus on being a dad, being a husband, you know, all that, you know, the stuff that takes a lot of your time and attention.
Yeah.
And luckily, it got ingrained in my mind, like you, that it was a non-negotiable. So I was able to keep that as a non-negotiable. And I realize now more than ever how important it is as a dad, entrepreneur, husband, to show up and be the best that I can for all those things, right? But what would you say to someone that, you know, doesn't have that in their life and is a dad, entrepreneur, husband? Like, how would you encourage them? What would you say is like the best superpower you get from it?
I think it's leading by example. I think it's like you want to, well, I have two boys, and even like I have a friend who has a little girl, and as a dad, I feel like it's like your obligation to show up the strongest you can be, mentally, physically, to lead by example. You know, there's, especially for young boys in that sense, I see that a lot. They look at you like you're a superhero, right? So you want to show up in the kind of that. To me, that's like super important. But it's leading by example, and I think when you put your body as a priority, your mind is going to become the same. Like it affects your whole mindset too, right? And it's I think it's anybody. It doesn't need to be in the gym. It just needs to be some kind of activity that like we're meant to move. Like in my opinion, like it's everybody needs to be there. But for dads, it's like, again, strong body, strong mind, good, like strong personality. Like you're the rock of the family, and to me, it's like important to present it that way too.
Leading by example. Amen to that.
Yeah,
that's like, I think if you have that as your guiding light, if you will, as a father, I think you're good.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it'll make you realize if you're doing something good or bad.
Yeah.
If you keep thinking about that, if you have that as top of mind, whether you're thinking about the fucking cell phones or, you know, the bad stuff and the good stuff, right? The way you eat, the way you talk, the way you treat your wife, the way you talk to your kids, the way you're patient/impatient, you know, if you think about, you know, how you say or do those things and how it's going to be the number one impact on your kids that are watching you, doesn't get, you know, you cannot have a better guiding light than that.
Exactly. And your kid, like, again, your kids are looking for you for influence. Like they will do whatever you do. Like it's, again, sometimes I work out at home and my kids will like grab dumbbells and start working out. Just like, I don't know. It's like, it becomes ingrained in them. My dad did bodybuilding. He was like, again, at the time he was like super jacked. I remember like he was in a magazine, like it was like in a, not like he didn't do like a big competition or anything like that, but in my eyes, I was like, holy shit, like he's jacked. And that was an influence for me too. And then I want to bring that same influence to my boys. And to me, it's, you owe it to yourself and to your kids kind of to lead by example.
100%.
Yeah.
It's mind blowing. You always think that your kids aren't listening and aren't seeing everything that you're doing, but they absolutely are.
Yeah.
The other day, like food is we try our best to have our kids have a good relationship with food. Obviously we eat well here, we eat clean, but kids are kids, our kids eat cookies and ice cream and, all the kids stuff, same as all the other kids, but it's very controlled. I'm going to say it's not a daily thing. It's, they don't have, this bad sweet stuff in their lunches every day. And we try to teach them, not good or bad, but like we eat vegetables and meat because it gives us energy. It makes us happy. It makes us run fast, stuff like that, right? It's not like we don't eat that. That's not good for you. It's like we explain why we eat this instead of eating ice cream every day, and we'll go for ice cream once a week or, something like that. But the other day, we went to the store and we saw someone we knew, and I chatted with that person. And once we left, Olivier, my son, looks at me and he's like, her grocery cart was full of sugar. I'm like, I thought that was hilarious, but it was true. Like I noticed it. I wasn't going to say anything to the kids, but, and no judgment. It's just, that made me realize how much my kids listen to what we say and see how we act around the house on a daily basis.
Yeah, big time. Like it's the same thing for us. Like for us, we're not huge vegetable eaters, but like definitely meat. And it's the thing is always like, if you want to be strong, you need to eat meat. It's always, and our youngest is like obsessed with meat. He just loves it. He loves fruit too, but like that's the thing. Like he wants to have, not that I have big muscles, but he wants to have like big muscles like that. We always say you need to eat meat like to get really strong, right? So yeah, I agree.
It's you have to admit it's really cool when your kids say something about your muscles, right? There's like that level of pride where you're like, man, my kid thinks I'm super cool.
But the thing is, it's like you want to cherish that and you want to ingrain those habits in your kids while they're young, because it's going to become an age, like once they get older and teenager, they're going to see through you and they're going to see like, okay, there's bigger guys out there or whatever. Like, so you want to have, while they're in that, like that phase of like when they see you as a superhero, you want to really,
that's where you have the most impact. Right?
Exactly. That influence, that impact. Because again, later on, it's like, I don't look at my dad the same way as I used to. Right. So you want to have that, you want to be there with them when they're in that like ripe age between like 2 to, I don't know, mine is 6. It's still going on, but I imagine up until they get to teenagers. So I think it's like your responsibility as a dad to really be there and to teach them all those things, those habits, so that they can, once they grow older, they're independent and they know what to do. Basically, that's like your only goal as a parent, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. One of your sons, or maybe both of them, do judo?
Our oldest,
Oldest, yeah.
And our youngest is like, he's only 2, but he's like already practicing. Like he wants to go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you like about that, like as a sport for your son?
I actually want to start too. I think it's, again, as a father, when they become fathers, or as a man, I think it's important to know how to defend yourself mentally, as importantly as physically, I would say, because nothing in life is easy, and judo or like martial arts really teaches you discipline. Like that's like the biggest takeaway. But it puts confidence in them. Like I saw that in my oldest, he's been doing it for like a little bit over a year now. And then last weekend he did his first competition. And you could see it after the competition, his confidence is different, right? Because he actually like competed against other kids that were maybe a bit older than him or whatever. And like he didn't, like, he might have lost, but like he really tried, and you could, like, he almost won, let's say. Like in his eyes, it's like, okay, like I can
see the potential.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for that, like, I did some boxing, but again, I think for kids, like, competing in something is like super important. Like you need to have that competitive edge, or like, because it's in life, again, nothing is giving to you. Even if you're in school, it's kind of in that sense. As soon as you go, whether you're an entrepreneur or you go out into the business world or in life, like, it's, you eat what you kill. Like you need to have that drive and hunger to go for what you want, kind of like to strive for your goals, your vision, and not just live for somebody else's ideals, right? So judo as a sport looks like super fun. I want to do it, but it's the again, the discipline, the pushing yourself every practice, like that in kids is like super, it's very important.
So at that age, do they actually crown the winners? Like, do you actually have to win to
Yes.
get a medal?
Yeah. So they go, it's because it's my first competition that I went to also. I'm figuring they're all like that, especially for that ages, but for those young ages between like, I think 10 and under. But it's like a group of 3. So you either finish first, second, or third. So you get a medal, but the winner, like it's not just a participation thing, right? You actually have to win, but you each win something. And I found that was really good. And like, honestly, like he goes at Judo Otoshi in Dieppe here. I would recommend anybody to bring their kids there. Even like as a parent, like to go there. I think it's like really, it's top notch. It's really good. And it's fostering like confidence and discipline in kids at a really young age. So
I like that the medal system, like, yeah, everyone's kind of happy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they start learning that not everyone wins the same, first place medal type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm a huge, like, I know this is a debatable subject, but I really don't like the participation
No, me
medal
neither.
thing. I kind of hesitate saying that publicly because I know there's like, there's probably debatable cases on both sides. But before my kid started sports, I was like, when my kid gets a participation medal, I'm like taking it and saying like, you didn't win anything.
Yeah.
But I kind of softened a little bit like, because they are really happy to get a medal. But instead I decided to turn it around a little bit and explain to them like, it's cool. Like, I'm super happy you got that medal, but like, I just want to let you know you didn't earn that medal.
Yeah.
It's like, you can hang it in your bedroom.
Yeah.
But you guys didn't win anything. You didn't do better than the other person. You guys worked hard and you had fun.
Yeah.
And that's why you got the medal.
Yeah.
But you did not win anything.
No, I agree. And it's kind of like, again, I come from a background with my dad where it's like pushing, like any sport that I would do, it's like, you want to be the best type of thing, right? I come from that kind of background. And then, but with my kids, it's at this age, it's kind of like, especially for like when he was younger, it's kind of like, let's just instill like him having fun in doing sports.
100%.
But then as soon as it there's like an age where like he starts to understand, then it's like again, he finished third at this competition and he was super happy about it. We were super happy for him. He really had fun. And now it's like, all right, let's try to go for the silver next time or the gold. And then it's, you kind of, cause there's a lesson in every defeat or every loss. So it's like, okay, what can we teach him or like show him? And then, so then we saw some weaknesses in his judo, I guess. So it's like ground game needs to kind of come up. So then we teach him in a fun way to kind of learn how to do that. But it's like we try to instill, like, we want him to have fun. We don't want him to like hate going to sports because we're like super hard on him. But it's like, we still want them to be competitive. Like that's the thing. And we're like, really good at making my kids competitive. Everything's like a competition. It's like, who's going to get dressed first? And then they like hurry up and then the loser cries or whatever. So it's like,
because you have a pretty big difference in age there.
Yeah.
2 and 6. It's
but
like
Teo, like our youngest, Teo is like ultra competitive now. Because Olivier grew up.
he was raised in it.
He had an older sibling that he's always competing against. So he's stronger already. And he's like, he wants to do judo. He's like practicing on the sidelines when we go watch Olivier. So like, it's that I want my boys to be, again, to have that competitive edge in anything they do in life, but also to enjoy the process. So we want them to have fun, but like, like you said, understand that like, if you want to win, like
you have to earn it.
Yeah, you have to earn it. You have to practice. There's a different level to it in that sense. So
I had my buddy Matt on the podcast earlier this year, and he's published a lot of papers on youth sports essentially. And one of the biggest contributing factors, or it might be the biggest contributing factor of people leading an active lifestyle after minor sports is them having a good experience in minor sports, them actually falling in love with doing sports, no matter what the sport is. And I believe it's Sweden or Switzerland. In minor sports, they only start counting the goals. Like if it's a hockey game or a soccer game, they only count the goals at age 9 or 10 or something like that. From 0 to then, it's all about getting them to fall in love with the game. That's what the focus is. Doesn't matter who wins. It's just like, did you work hard? Did you have fun? Cool. And ironically, whatever that place is where they do that, they have some of the best Olympians come from there. Because they fall in love with being active, with the sport for the right reasons. And then they become really good at it, which naturally you become competitive because it's fun to be good at something. And when you're good at something, you love to be competitive. When you win stuff, you want to win the next thing, you know? So it's just like a snowball effect, right?
That makes sense.
But, and that also transfers over into youth playing uni sports, or however you want to call that, like one sport the whole year. A lot of people reach a burnout stage through that cycle, right? So like hockey's a big one around here where people play regular season, spring summer preseason. So it's basically you have like 2 weeks off in the whole year, which it obviously produces good hockey players. But for the long term, I think the lifespan is shorter. Instead of what they suggest is do something beneficial for your hockey season that is not hockey. So whether it's playing another sport or going to the gym, where like you're going to get stronger and it's going to be beneficial for hockey. But you went there, you were in a different environment, different mindset, developed different skills, developed different muscles. And then you started the hockey season really fresh, with that renewed enjoyment for the game. Yeah,
that's true. I've actually went through that exact thing where it's like, because again, I grew up playing like high level hockey. You go like in the beginning, I don't know what age it was, but I remember we were playing like in the springs, it was like provincial hockey. And then it was like in the summer, it was like something else related to, so you're always playing all the time. But the most like growth I had was when my dad was like, all right, let's just take the summer off. Let's just train, get stronger, relax, kind of have fun. And then, because the main thing was like, for me was like the fun thing was like with the regular season, like you were with your friends for like, it's not just like 4 weeks out of the year or whatever, playing spring hockey or summer hockey or whatever. Or even like my dad used to do 3-on-3 hockey, which was like purely for fun. It was kind of like you have the whole ice. It's 3 players against 3, not 5 against 5. It's there's no contact. It was just to have fun, and those were like it's almost like playing ball hockey. Right. Like those are like that was like a really fun time for a lot of the kids that I grew up with playing hockey. But I agree with that. You need to find that love of the game or like the passion of like, again, doing something, because you build confidence in that period, right? When you're like, when you're not like trying to win everything necessarily. But then after that, you're like, okay, I kind of want to win. And then you're like, okay, well, what do I need to do to be better? And then you're like, okay, let's shoot 1,000 pucks a day or whatever you want to, whatever your sport is. And then you start looking at it as like a problem to solve, not just like something that I need, like, oh, I need to do this or whatever. Then you're like, okay, I want to do this. So you like instilling that in kids at a young age where it's like, just have fun, start having fun, enjoy it. And then let them kind of crave it. Like that's what we kind of do with our boys. It's like we try them in like a bunch of different sports. And then like Olivier told me yesterday, he was like, I want to do skating again. Let's do skating. I really want to do it. So it's like, okay, well, let's put him into skating, whatever. So like finding that like whatever sports they need, it doesn't even to be like, I grew up in hockey and Olivier has not played any hockey yet. Cause I know, in Dieppe, or even for kids like his age in hockey, it's already competitive. There's tryouts, and it's like, come on, like just let them have fun. And all the guys I grew up playing hockey with, they were like, it's a lot different than when we grew up. It's way more competitive at a young age. The parents are like way too involved, in my opinion. So it's kind of like I I enjoy right now, like he's playing, like he's doing judo, and like it's mostly about having fun, which I really like that aspect of it. So
Yeah. The culture of sports have a big impact on like whether you're going to fall in love with the sport essentially, right? It's not all about the actual sport.
No,
It's about everything around it, right? The dressing room talks or like the pre-talks before judo, the competitions, the weekends, the you know, if you go to a tournament away, like that stuff is going to be what you really, I think, fall in love with. And then at one point, if they want to become competitive and really fall in love with going deep into the sport, they'll choose to do that later. And I think that's the issue. If you want to stay on the hockey subject, there's no problem with playing hockey all year long if the kid is 14, 15 years old enough to make that decision on his own. Everything he wants to do, think, and you know, that's his dream, is to be a professional hockey player. All good. Then play hockey all year long. But what's missing is the discipline and knowledge for parents from 5 to 11, 12 years old, maybe something like that, where it's not the kid's decision. Obviously the kid's going to say yes. If you say you want to play spring hockey with your buddy, you know, Eric, sure. You know, but it's the parents that should have, I don't blame them, because I think there's a lack of education here. And people just go with the flow. Everyone's doing it, so they're doing it, right? But the parents need to be educated and disciplined to say, like, I think we should maybe, like your dad told you that summer, you know, I think we should take the summer off. Let's train hard and go back hard in September. That's totally the responsibility of the parents until 11, 12 years old, where they become a little bit more able to make their own decisions and tell their parents what they want to do and why.
You also, one thing that I've come to realize too is you have to think, like, as a parent, like what are you solving for with sports with your kids? Like, if they're just going to play sports their whole life growing up, and then they're not going to get to professional level, or they have no intentions to get, like, what skills are you implementing in your kids? Like they've learned how to to play hockey. They've learned how to play in a team. Like they haven't built any other skills of like making friends or like doing something else, going biking, like being independent. So sports are like, if the goal is not for them to get to the NHL or to the whatever, like any professional league or to the Olympics, sports are there to help them be competitive, discipline, teamwork. Like those are like the skills. And there's no reason, in my opinion, to go overboard with that if the goal is not to get to that level. So like in those ages where it's like they don't know what they want to do, they just want to have fun, unless they really want to go with their friends all the time, they're also kind of missing out on other things, in my opinion, as a kid. It's not, it can't just all be about sports. Like I've lived that lifestyle, and I've also lived the other lifestyle where it's like, I'm just playing hockey during the winter and that's it, or playing sports. Not all year round, and you kind of want them to learn how to have fun in other ways too. It can't just all be about sports all the time, in my opinion. Whether it's like going for a trip, biking, or whatever you want to do, right? There's other things out there than just sports, and I think a lot of people fall into that trap of with their kids. It's like, oh, we got to do hockey for all the week, whole week, all weekends, everything. It's all about hockey. It becomes almost like a distraction for the parents in a way, to just like, let's just put the kids on the ice and then we'll just stand back and you need to be intentional with what you kind of do with your kids, in my opinion, because again, your goal is to build a human that's independent and that'll be successful in life, not just successful in sports necessarily. So you kind of want to do that with intention, in my opinion. Yeah,
100%. I really enjoy personally, selfishly, I really enjoy the sports that my kids do that I can do with them. Snowboarding, biking. That's my favorite. Luckily, up to this point, my son really, really likes biking. My daughter does too, but doesn't crave it as much. And the whole family really loves snowboarding. So that's like it's like our main thing right now. But my kids are starting to get into an age where like they're starting to really develop their own likings of what they like for sports. My daughter just started competitive gymnastics. So, but it's so cool to see when they're, old enough and able to choose what they really love, and you see the passion in what they're doing, like there's no cooler thing to witness than that.
Yeah.
Right.
And your job as a parent is to whatever they want, like if that's what they want to do, you just like go all in and help them out. Right. That's like, as soon as you like, to me, I'd be, but when that happens anyways, he's kind of like Ollie's kind of like getting into that groove right now where he's kind of discovering what he likes to do and all that stuff. And yeah, it's fulfilling as a parent to see their passion for that. And then you're okay, well, let's go do that. So it's like, instead of you pushing them into doing something maybe they don't like as much, you just start like kind of respecting what they like to do. So yeah.
And you said it, I believe you said it well when you said like you guys tried a bunch of things.
Yeah.
Like, let's try this, let's try that, let's try that. And it's not necessarily like they don't need to say like, yes, I want to do it. Sometimes it's just like, we registered you for skating.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just go try it out. We did that for a few things, like soccer, like was a failure for us. They didn't like it. There's a few things that kind of didn't work out. But after a few years, they discovered what they enjoyed, sometimes by surprise, right? They didn't necessarily want to do it right off the bat, but they discovered that they really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But the other thing that comes to mind too is I think this generation of parents, like they have a hard time allowing their kids to be bored.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like just figure it out. Go outside. You don't need like something on the schedule today. You don't need a hockey game. You don't need a soccer game. You don't need some kind of registered thing.
That's true.
Registered course or whatever. Just go outside.
Yeah.
Can I play hockey? Play anything you want. Just do whatever. Stay within this boundary here and figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's how we were raised.
Yep.
We would just go outside and do whatever we felt like.
Yeah. Come back when the lights come on. Outside.
Exactly. And that's where you develop like your imagination, creativity, find new friends, talk to new people, develop the skill of actually introducing yourself to someone, like talking to people you don't know.
Yeah.
All things that in this new generation, we're a little bit deprived of because we're on a more of a digital generation. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're like in that like hybrid generation. I grew up in that exact same thing where it's like, all right, go outside and no TV today. Just go outside, come back when the lights come on.
Yeah.
I made a lot of friends in our neighborhood biking. We loved biking. Like we would build ramps and everything. And then after that, we started building like tree houses in the woods. That was like another thing. Like those were
memories.
the days. Yeah. And like today it's like, again, I agree with you where like it's as busy, like it's almost as if parents want to have the kids as busy as busy as they can be, busy schedule, everything. And like they kind of deprive the kids of being creative with that stuff.
And I think it's unintentional because I think the parents don't want their kids to miss out on anything.
That's the thing.
But ironically, I think they're robbing them of valuable lessons and valuable experiences.
Yeah. It's also following, because I see that right now in school and daycare where like, I talk to other parents who are like, oh, we're super busy today. And then like you talk to somebody else and like, oh, I need to put them in hockey too. Everybody's busy. We've got a tournament here. And like me and my wife are kind of like in the same mindset of like, let's just try different sports. Let's just see what he likes and have some off time. Like we don't have any sports scheduled on the weekends. And like, that's when they kind of have more time to spend and just go outside and hang out. Like trampoline, we have a park, we go for walks in the woods. I love going for walks in the woods with the boys. Teach them about nature and all that stuff. This summer is going to be the first summer that I'm going to bring them like fishing with me in the woods. Same thing.
Nice.
It's again, life is about like these experiences. That's when like my core memories as a kid was like doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I obviously grew up a lot around the hockey rink, but like between the hockey, like when you're at a tournament and then you're like, okay, we have like 2 hours to spare. Let's go hang out with friends in town or whatever. Like those were like the fun times, or playing mini hockey or whatever it was. You have 2 hours to spare, kind of do something. Like parents are busy, kids go hang out. I agree with you on that. It's you want to build independent humans, right? So that's super important.
And I think we're responsible for our household to engineer the life that we want as a family.
Yeah.
And that means that it's up to the parents to leave some free time for all that stuff that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's a lot of people that have 7 days of activities, right?
Yeah.
And if that's what they like, because they don't really do anything else, I guess that's okay. But if you say like, I wish we could go skiing, but
Yeah,
we
busy
just
schedule.
have no days left in
Yeah.
the week. I'm like, well, I mean, that's kind of a choice, right?
Yeah,
You can't go on a ski trip. You can't go, down south with your family
Yeah.
because you have a busy sports schedule or
Yeah.
activity schedule. If you're happy leading your life that way, that's cool.
Yeah.
But if you're like complaining about it, you
Yeah.
get to engineer your life, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I see a lot of people that complain about it, but it's almost like it's like I'm doing it for the kids. They're gonna it's like this is gonna be the life for the next 10, 20 years, whatever, until they're done playing hockey or done playing sports or whatever it is.
But then they're gone.
It's the wrong mentality. Yeah, you haven't spent any time with them other than just doing that one thing, right? And like being spontaneous, doing random trips. I think that's where they really build their memories of like being with you, and then you learn a lot of stuff. I mean, we went camping a lot as kids. My parents had a tent and then a tent trailer, and like we went for that. A lot of the traveling was to go to hockey tournaments, but like it wasn't in a hotel, it was at a campground, and it was like super fun. Like we would bring the bikes, go do stuff in between. We even would go camping to go at different golf course. Like we grew up pretty much on PEI, and like that's where I like learned how to speak English. My dad would just send me there at like hockey camps, and I would stay there with other friends, make new friends at a kind of like a billeted house type of thing. But it's my parents would kind of keep it interesting in that sense.
Camping's probably one of the most valuable things for families, in my opinion. Like it's just that natural state of getting unplugged for that whole time frame, right? It just happens.
Yeah.
You don't even have to try, right? Like you're outdoors, you just forget that your phone's in the camper, in the truck or whatever. You build a bonfire, you go biking, you're busy, but you're super chill at the same time, right?
Yeah,
You're
no
always
schedule.
doing something, going for a hike, going to the park, but it's the good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it was easy when we were younger. We didn't have any phones, but like we definitely want to start doing like going camping with our kids, just to kind of show them like that life of like just being in nature and kind of doing stuff when you're not at home. Because I know both my boys absolutely love like being outdoors. Like they like almost complain if they haven't gone outside. Like it's like you can see in them that like they're like bouncing everywhere in the house and they just need to be out. So I think, yeah, for sure, camping, nature walks, anything like that where like you're in nature. I think a lot of people have gotten away from that because of the busy schedules. And I think it's a super important thing for kids to kind of do that experiment, like go into play, like the unknown. That's kind of like the thing with camping, right?
Exploring.
You would go to a campground you've never been before, and my parents were like, okay, just go explore, go walk around, find find the pool, find this. They knew where it was, but kind of just let us explore, and kind of letting kids have that is, or not having that is kind of robbing them of, again, independence, growing like as a person. Like it's, I think it's super important.
Yeah, a lot of good lessons in nature for sure.
Yeah.
So before I let you go, Stéphane, I got a really deep question for you here.
Okay.
So when your kids are all grown and they talk about the man that their dad was, what do you want them to say?
One of the most important things for me is I'm not there to be their friends. I'm there to be their father and to teach them the lessons that they need to be independent. Like for me, if it's not even, how can I say that? I want them to look back at me as the person that taught them like the most valuable lessons in life, not necessarily as the person that was like their best friend, doing everything with them all the time. They have friends for that, in my opinion. A father, like in my opinion, is there to push them, get the best out of them, that they can, like the best potential they have. You disagree with them often, that's part of being a father, right? You set the constraints, the boundaries based on what they can expect when they leave the household, start their family, start a business, whatever they want to do. So to me, it's as long as they see me as the man that taught them all these lessons. It would really suck for me if I spoke to them when they were like 30 or 40 and they would tell me like, you were kind of like, you were just there hanging out with us, all that stuff. We never really like learned anything, any life lessons, all that stuff. So for me, it's that, whether it's like, they come home and they're sad about something, you ask them why, and you don't necessarily agree with them. You kind of explain why that happened. To me, that's like my purpose of being a successful dad, I guess, if you will. Yeah.
I love that answer. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thanks a lot for coming on the show, and thanks for being the great dad that you are and inspiring all the other dads around you to do the same.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks.